Hello and welcome back to Silk Pod, reviewing Age of Attraction episode 6. Finally meeting some family and friends. This was the episode I was looking forward to. Um, but unfortunately, it was underwhelming for me because a lot of the parent reactions were kind of mild compared to what I thought. Um, Part of me wonders if maybe it's because the cameras are running, so the parents are kind of maybe withholding some of their immediate reactions and feelings and thoughts, so they don't seem a little crazy. I don't know, just something that I felt while watching it. Anyways, we will jump right in. Start with a few couples first processing how they're feeling and stuff before the meetups. Of course, John says that he's excited, and he's actually more worried about meeting Teresa's family. He's not so nervous about meeting his family. Of course, Teresa's nervous. This was already evident from previous episodes. Um, she says that she wants the parents to know who she is as a person before the age reveal. Um, which as soon as he said that, I was like, I kind of understand what she means by that, but also that's a bit of a red flag. And we of course learned this during the actual meetup that the John's parents don't take that well. It's like, why are you withholding that information? So weird. For the first time, we see Pfeiffer very stressed out. Derek tries to reassure her and tell her that we will face challenges together. He's there for her, blah, blah, blah. But Pfeiffer is very much like, I know, I know, I know. It's just really overwhelming. She starts to get teary eyed and emotional. Um, and she doesn't want to talk about it in the moment, and even refuses his hug. Yeah, I think it's just becoming very real for her. Um, so yeah, totally get it, Vanessa. For Vanessa, she goes on about these red flags with Logan, and how Logan is scared of commitment apparently, and he needs some growing up to do. Which I understand from the age perspective how Logan might seem that way, but I just feel like Vanessa, you should not be talking. Out of here, all the older people, you should not be talking. Um, yeah, Vanessa gets emotional during the interview, but again, this couple just needs to stop forcing something that's not gonna work out. It's already over. Okay. The first meetup is with John and Teresa, meeting John's mom and the sister. Um, they first start off with explaining about the speed dating process with all these other people, including the age reveal process with the promise room. And that now that they're living together, it has been a great experience. Teresa talks about in general how they like each other and they're just taking things day by day. Um, Eventually, Teresa walks off. We see this as a recurring pattern with these meetups. Um, and of course, John mentions to his mom and sister, it's not like they're getting married tomorrow or anything or having kids. They're just dating. So um, they're they're just gonna work through it, which is fine, I guess. I guess. Um, every time the mom or the sister asks about Teresa's age or her kid's age, or even they didn't even like know or learn until later about how many kids Teresa even has. Um, and Andrew keeps saying, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it," which is a problem, right? I knew this was gonna happen. Um, and the mom and the sister tells us at the interview that they see the connection between Teresa and John, and they seem to like vibe really well. But it was really off-putting that Teresa didn't bring up the fact that she is much older. How old is she exactly? And about the kids. So yeah, it was obviously going to be a problem. She should have just been upfront with it and own it. But Teresa has so many worries and insecurities around that she thinks withholding that information makes her look better, but it's actually the complete reversal. Oops. Next up, we have Derek and Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer decides to sit a little bit apart. She is very surprised when she sees both her mom and dad. They have a sit down. The mom asks some couple questions about anything unexpected or unusual they learned about each other, which they say not much. Derek mentions if he had to say so, it's that Pfeiffer is a very clean person. Um, then Derek drops his age, and Pfeiffer also drops the fact that Derek has two kids and the ages. Obviously, they're shocked, but yeah, I thought they would have more of a visceral reaction, but instead they were just kind of cordial and just asking follow-up questions about how they feel about the age gap. Um, and yeah, it was very bizarre to me that it was like, okay, so how do you feel about the age? How do you feel about the kid situation? And so forth. Eventually, Derek pulls the dad to the side, so they talk, and then we are left with Pfeiffer and her mom. Pfeiffer goes on to say how lucky she feels and how great Derek is, and she was actually drawn to him because he has kids, and she has this perception that he's very mature and like a fatherly figure, and like it's also like because she also wants kids, she was attracted to someone who has kids. I don't know. I find that really bizarre, but okay, Pfeiffer. Yeah. The mom does raise very genuine concerns about the kids' things, of course, and mentions that Pfeiffer hated babysitting. So, yeah, that's a problem for me, too. Like, a girl, how do you think you're going to connect with Derek's kids? But all right, whatever. Um, and of course, the mom asks, like, where does Pfeiffer see the relationship going? Because like when Pfeiffer is 50, Derek is gonna be 70. Like, is he taking that into consideration? And Pfeiffer says, it's a strange situation, but she is taking things day by day. I don't know. I just thought because Pfeiffer was so nervous, which anybody would be, but I thought there would have been like more drama, more tension, but no, because the thing is, the dad at the interview was like basically like, "Oh, I see this sense of ease and comfort between Pfeiffer and Derek." And then once Pfeiffer sets her mind on something, she goes for it. And I was just like, why are you talking like like you support this 100%? Because then he starts crying and all this stuff and tells us he's at an age where he can finally trust his kids. I'm like, what are you talking about? Why are you fully trusting a 22-year-old? No, no, no. I understand that the legal adult age is 18 or whatever, but no, 22 is still young. What is he talking about? The dad needs to have a little bit of pushback. A little bit more, please. Um, at least the mom, on the other hand, says that, the kids thing can make or break the relationship. They seem to be a good match, and yeah, like there's concerns, but I guess the mom supports it too, and like we'll see how things go. What is happening right now? That's like the opposite of what I thought would be happening this episode, but okay. Okay, whatever, mom and dad. Um, yeah. Next up is Libby and Andrew. I wanted to see their parents this episode, but it's their friends, like two friends from Libby and two friends from Andrew. We first start with Libby and Andrew, just with Libby's two friends. Um, I like Libby's friends. Their age is so like telling, but I'm glad that they're like giving Andrew, a look when he's like, "Oh, this bracelet is from my kid," and they're like, "How old are they?" And he's like, "Oh, 14 and 12," and like they're giving him this look, and they're like, "Oh, we just trying to understand what's going on," but like, no, 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 you're judging, and you should be judging, and I'm glad there's actually that happening finally. The girls interrogate Andrew basically and ask different questions, especially with his relationship with his mom. He says like it's great, it's fine, and he would be surprised if the mom voiced a different opinion. Okay, we just have to take his word for it, right? Unless we see Andrew's um, the mom figure for his child, we'll see. Then Andrew's two friends arrive and they ask more questions to Libby as he talks about this whole like, oh, he's drawn to his emotional maturity and all this stuff that he keeps saying over and over again. Eventually, the friends split with their own groups. And I do like that both friend groups were critiquing Andrew and Libby, especially with the age gap and especially with the kid situation, and just trying to be responsible while like, you know, great, you're in this process, you like each other, you're having a great time, but also be realistic about what you're putting yourselves into. Um, the thing that bothered me was that Andrew's friends said that it's not surprising that he's dating Libby's age. So, how many 20-year-olds is Andrew hitting on? Because if this is a recurring thing, that's a problem too. Yeah, that's gross. Yeah. And they obviously go on to talk about, look, Andrew works at a bar and he has kids to look after. Like he needs to keep things in a realistic mindset, you know? Andrew tells his friends he doesn't want Libby to necessarily be a stepmom role. She just can be that bigger sister role and that there's no pressure from him. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, what is he to you? Like a side chick? Like what's happening here? And then for Libby, her friends are definitely not cool with the whole kids thing. Because even when Libby says she can be the big sister figure, the friends are like, but they're still Andrew's kids. They're still family members. Like you need to let that sink in. Um, and yeah, they provide pushback and stuff, but yeah, definitely the friends don't fully support it. So yeah, that was very interesting. Not very dramatic, but I'm glad to see a little bit more pushback compared to the other conversations and meetups. What is happening right now? Um, Next meetup is Leah and Chris. Just meeting Chris's mom. I wonder. Oh, Chris did mention about his dad had a health issue, right? Okay, now that makes sense. I'm like, Leah talks about her job. I completely didn't forgot or didn't realize that she's a flight attendant, so she travels a lot. So that has some issues with scheduling. I didn't even know that was an issue in the relationship. Who knew? Um, Leah, right off the bat, reveals her age, which the mom is super shocked on. Um, and she tells the mom, as long as Chris is okay with the age gap, she's okay with it. Okay. That was a quick conversation. Leah tells the mom, only God will tell them if she is the one for Chris. We just have to see. And Leah hugs Chris's mom and leaves. Um, yeah, I don't understand the pattern of different people leaving and then they're left with their parents alone. I don't know. I'm just like, what is this? It's definitely a production thing because I'm like, what? Why? Why is he leaving now? Um, well, I'm glad she left in this situation because then we see Chris breaking down in front of his mom and like, oh, okay, like that just confirmed exactly how I felt about Chris. Like he doesn't want this. He does not want this. He says that it's been so hard since the move in and he feels like he doesn't really have time on his own and whatever. And the mom at first tries to be on the son's side and is like, okay, yeah, you should definitely have time on your own. Go to the gym, take a shower, whatever. But then the mom's also like, well, so it must be hard on Leah as an older woman living with a much younger guy. And he's like, yeah, I understand that too. Um, yeah. They all go on to talk about kids and stuff, and the mom is like, look, if you and Leah wants kids down the road and you're serious about this, like you need to build a strong foundation too before even considering that, which is true. And that yeah, I like the mom here. She's very real about like you just need to have these conversations more and like be honest about how you're feeling and thinking. Um, if Chris wants to make this work, which I don't think he does. Um, yeah. Because then the mom asks, like, why is it so hard though, Chris? Like, what is it that's making it difficult? Because early on in the relationship, it should be easy. You should always want to be together. You should be enjoying every second together. So what is it that's making things so hard for him? And he's not able to really articulate it, I don't think. Um, and he just starts crying. I'm like, boy, you're young, but don't just be crying in front of mom about that. And the mom is like, Chris, if you're not happy, Leah's gonna be hurt. And I'm like, yeah, basically. Like, if Chris doesn't want to be with Leah, just rip the band aid off and end it now before it gets worse. Like, He's dragging it. He's dragging it. He's dragging it. Um, oh God, he is so immature. Oh, sorry, Leah. Um, last big meetup is with Vanessa and Logan meeting Logan's parents. Apparently Logan doesn't really have a huge dating history, or he doesn't really introduce his dates to his parents, so I guess that's why it's a big deal. Um, the mom starts off with asking about how the long distance will work. And Vanessa does this weird joke about like it's we're not trying to have triplets the next day and getting married. And mom's like, I hope not. It's like and Vanessa's like, oh, but it would be nice. I'm like, don't joke about that. You're gonna scare these parents. Yeah. Yo, Vanessa, you want 3 kids with Logan? Crazy. Um, during the age reveal, Logan gets so nervous, but Vanessa just shares it. Um, they're obviously very surprised with the age gap. Um, and then we go on this whole grandkid situation where the mom is like, my friends are getting grandkids, and like down the road, like if this is a serious relationship that they're gonna commit to, then they gotta have those kids fast because Vanessa's old. Um, yeah, which makes sense, but. mm. Oh, and the mom also mentions that Vanessa will need to have a lot of patience with Logan as the older person, which Vanessa does not have. So, it's like the worst pairing. Logan tells us and the parents that even though once upon a time, well, not once upon a time, his is young, but at one point he did want kids, but right now he doesn't really want kids, so that's not really a factor. But it's so clear that mom and dad really wants grandkids, so that's definitely a little bit of tension I noticed. But at the end of the day, the dad was like, we can't dictate his life. I would love to be a father, but you know, we can't tell our kid what to do and not to do. Like he's old enough to make his own choices, and the mom agrees. Yeah, they have their concerns, but they're very much like if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I don't understand these parents. Why are they so? Understand like at a certain age, like parents do need to let go of their child a little bit and let them be independent and make their own choices. Um, but I think, parents will still be parents. So I think it's really important that no matter how old your kid is, though, an adult, if they're doing something that's like beyond logical, rational, healthy, I think parents should absolutely step in and say like, "Yo, you're dating someone that's way too old or way too young for you. Stop it." I think that's completely appropriate, but I don't know. I don't know. Um, After all these meetups, we have a few more scenes left of this episode. There's one quick one with Andrew and Libby just talking and sharing about the concerns both of their friends shared, which is the same thing about Andrew having kids and um, you know, they just both agree it went as well as it could have. They weren't expecting like everyone's gonna be 100% on board with their relationship on day one, but they think over time it'll work out. I don't know about that. But that's all that happened. We then have a 2-second clip of a Pfeiffer just saying as he sleeps with what's his name with her partner that the meetup went better than she thought. Too well. It went too well for Pfeiffer. Um, and then we go with this mess with Chris and Leah, and while I'm watching it, I stopped taking notes at a certain point because I'm like, Chris, what are you talking about? You're going in circles. But anyways, Chris comes back to the apartment after talking to mom, and he opens with Leah saying that he's feeling more unsure about the next step in the relationship. Leah is clearly upset and says like, she just wants him to be happy in the moment without worrying too much about the future and about his past and like all that stuff. Like she just wants him to live in the moment for some of these things, which I understand, but I also feel like you should have these worries So I get both sides of that. But then Chris goes on this like cyclical rant going back and forth about he cares about Leah. He cares about the relationship. He wants it to work, but he's having trouble explaining how he feels and he's walking on eggshells and Leah doesn't fully understand him and he doesn't really know what to do. And then I'm just like, dude, Leah just wants you to use your words, articulate them, and just tell her how you feel. Just be honest, dude. Like I feel like he's saying he's walking on eggshells, but I think he just doesn't want to be blunt about what's really going on. But anywho, Leah does tear up and tell him to just give her a chance or whatever. But she does later clarify that, hey, if he wants to leave, like she's not gonna force him to stay, you know? Like either way, Chris, you're free to go at any point in the experiment. So I don't understand like why he feels like he needs to stay. He needs to make it work or whatever. But yeah, he just starts crying and I'm just like, what do you want to do, Chris? What do you want to do? It's either you love Leah, wants to stay in the relationship, make things work, or just end it and go. It's actually not that difficult. Like, it's really showing his age, how he's acting right now. And it's like, oh God, Leah just wants you to be honest at the end of the day. Um, Anywho, we end this episode with 3 days left to the commitment ceremony. John meets up with his sister as a follow up. The sister voices how her and the mom felt. They felt put off with Teresa not telling them upfront about her age, about the kids, not even about that fact that she had 3 kids. So, I totally understand that frustration. And also once John told her, okay, this is how old she is, this is how old her kids is, and she has 3 kids, and he laid it out all out for her. I don't know how Teresa would take that, but then the sister correctly voices that John is still young. Well, I wouldn't say he's young, but relatively young, right? And she's not sure if he should really go on and date someone seriously with kids, which I completely agree with. And we end on a cliffhanger ish with John telling us at the interview that he started to feel unsure of the relationship or he has things to think about. I don't know. But yeah, that was weird. And that was it for Age of Attraction episode 6. Yeah, I don't know. A little underwhelming what happened. Hopefully, it'll kick up more in the next episode, but we just have to see. So I will see you in the next one. Thanks for stopping by.